Let's take a look at Donald Trump's easiest path to victory in 2024. We'll start by giving him the states he's sure to win. Those states are Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, both Dakotas, Nebraska minus the 2nd Congressional District, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and South Carolina. This puts Trump at 122 electoral votes. I'm also pretty confident he'll win Alaska and Iowa. He won both states by 10 and 9 points respectively in 2020. Florida has also become a stronghold for the GOP. Trump carried it by more than 3% in 2020, while Ron DeSantis was reelected governor by more than 19 points in 2022, so we'll give Trump Florida. I'm also going to give Trump Ohio. Ohio used to be the bellwether state, not so much anymore. Trump carried Ohio by more than 8 points in 2020, and current polling shows him with another solid lead. Trump should also pick up Texas. He won the state by a little more than 5% in 2020. Before Trump ran in 2016, Republicans were winning Texas by double digits. Things are getting closer, and recent polling shows Trump with a very narrow lead, but I expect the GOP to hold on to Texas in 2024. North Carolina is another state Trump won in both 2016 and 2020. Democrats are looking to flip it in 2024, but I'd still give the GOP the edge. The most recent poll shows Trump ahead by 8 points. Let's also give Trump Maine's 2nd Congressional District. He won it in both 2016 and 2020. Maine and Nebraska award 2 at-large electoral votes based on the winner of their state, and 1 for each winner in their congressional districts. So if Trump wins every state he won in 2020, he'll be at least 235 electoral votes, 3 more than he had in 2020, as the census has slightly changed some of the electoral vote counts for 2024. Now here comes the tricky part, finding Trump's path to victory. We can definitely rule out the following states: Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, Maine at large, Maine's 1st Congressional District, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and DC. I think we can pretty safely rule out New Mexico as well. We've seen Trump struggle a bit in Sunbelt states like Arizona and Texas, and Biden won New Mexico by 10 in 2020. Virginia is another state Biden won by 10 in 2020. Recent polling shows Biden with leads of 3 and 16, so maybe there's a small glimmer of hope for Trump here, but it's definitely not his easiest path to victory. Colorado is also starting to feel like a bit of a lost cause for the GOP. Biden carried the state by 13.5 in 2020, and he's already up by 10 in the polls. Minnesota and New Hampshire are states that historically have been purplish, but will very likely break for Biden in 2024. So now we're left with the 6 states that will decide the election, as well as Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. In their video on this topic, I saw that Decision Desk ruled out Congressional District 2 for Trump, but I think there's actually a reason to believe Trump could win it. Biden won Congressional District 2 by 6.6% in 2020. That was an 8% improvement over Clinton, who lost Congressional District 2 by 2% in 2016. But in 2022, Nebraska redrew its maps, which may make Congressional District 2 slightly more favorable for the GOP, and is only 1 electoral vote, but I think it could actually be quite significant. If we go ahead and give Trump Michigan and Pennsylvania, he'd land right at 269 in the nightmare scenario for the Electoral College, a 269 to 269 tie, but if he can flip Congressional District 2, that lands him at exactly 270, which he needs to win, and this is actually a pretty plausible map. However, I'm not sure it is the most plausible map, and it's definitely not Trump's easiest path to victory. Logically, Trump's easiest path to victory would involve flipping back Arizona and Georgia, states that he lost by less than 0.5% in 2020. However, that only brings Trump to 262 electoral votes, meaning that even if he also flipped Nevada, he would still need one of Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. And I'm also not sure Arizona is going to flip back to the GOP in 2024. Shifting demographics have made it a lot more favorable for the Democratic Party. I think Trump has a much better shot of flipping back Georgia. He only lost by less than 12,000 votes in 2020, and there's a new voting law that makes absentee voting a little bit more difficult. Groups like the ACLU are fighting that law, so it's not completely clear what voting laws will actually be on the books when the presidential election is underway. At the same time, Biden's approval has been declining in Georgia, while GOP Governor Brian Kemp is extremely popular, so we're going to give Trump Georgia. At this point, Trump could win the Electoral College simply by flipping Pennsylvania. Of the 3 key Rust Belt states, Biden's net approval is lowest in Pennsylvania, and the most recent Quinnipiac poll, they're a very reliable pollster, actually shows Trump ahead by 1. Biden won Pennsylvania by less than 2% in 2020, and as a state, Pennsylvania voted more conservative than the national average. Whether or not Trump can actually flip back Pennsylvania and Georgia depends largely on whether or not he can perform better in the suburbs. Particularly in Pennsylvania, Trump got crushed in suburban counties like Bucks, Montgomery, and Chester. An alternative path to victory for Trump would be to flip Nevada and Michigan. While most of the country moved left in 2020, Nevada voted 2% more Republican than the national average. In 2022, Trump endorsed gubernatorial candidate Joe Lombardo, won the GOP primary, and ultimately defeated incumbent Democrat Steve Sisolak to become governor. Today, Governor Lombardo has a pretty strong approval rating, which would make him a good ally for Trump on the campaign trail. And at the same time, Biden's net approval in Nevada is currently minus 14. So let's talk Michigan and why I think it could flip in 2024, even though Biden won it by nearly 3% in 2020. Biden got a lot of support from voters who didn't feel like the pandemic was under control, but COVID-19 probably won't be a major factor in how people vote in 2024. In 2020, Trump outperformed his polling average by about 3% in Michigan, and the most recent Michigan poll actually shows him leading by 2. And Joe Biden has an abysmal minus 36 net approval rating among Michigan independents. That's really bad.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
So right now, I do think flipping Georgia, Michigan, and Nevada is Trump's easiest path, while flipping Georgia and Pennsylvania is about as plausible. However, I'm not very bullish on Trump's ability to flip back Wisconsin in 2024. Wisconsin has seen some big Democratic victories in recent years, and Mandela Barnes nearly defeated incumbent Republican Ron Johnson in the 2022 Senate race. So as you can see, Trump has several different paths to 270, but they really hinge on him being able to win at least one of Pennsylvania or Georgia. If Trump loses Pennsylvania and Georgia, things become a lot more difficult for him in the Electoral College. So what are the polls currently saying about a Trump versus Biden rematch in 2024? Check out my next video to find out.